You hear that sound, everybody? That's the sound of Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 1 ending. So, yep, we got the finale on Friday, which is yesterday as of recording this, and it was a pretty good finale. It had a lot of setups for Season 2. It didn't really have the epic battle that we wanted, kind of like Rampart versus The Bad Batch, but they did settle their conflict with Crosshair, so overall it was a pretty good finale. So, number one, this video is not really an Easter egg review because there weren't really that many Easter eggs in the finale. This is more just a review video because there weren't really that many Easter eggs. It was more just like the whole, because if obviously you've seen the episodes right now because it's spoiler alert, but the entire episode was just them getting out of Topeka City, going into order. I thought that it was going to be more of a battle, like we were going to kind of get some reveals, but I guess we're going to have to wait for Bad Batch Season 2, which, if you've seen my video, Bad Batch Season 2 announced, then I go over the details that we know about Star Wars Bad Batch Season 2, which, if you haven't seen that video, go check it out. You can also check out my Crazy Omega Theories video, because that video is, none of my theories were right, probably because we didn't really get that many answers in this episode, but still pretty good. So, with more further ado, this is the episode. So, the episode is titled Kamino Lost, which is obviously because Kamino has been lost. It has been destroyed, and now it is sinking to the bottom of the ocean with the Bad Batch inside. So we open up the episode with Rampart on his Star Destroyer, which is, I'm calling it a Star Destroyer because it's the Empire, and I'm not going to call it a Venador. Even though it is a Venador, I'm just going to call it a Star Destroyer. So, one of the clone troopers says that all remaining structures have been destroyed. Now, he seems a bit hesitant and a bit sad because that is a clone trooper who says it. I think that's the same clone trooper that we saw in the new class attack shuttle in last episode, but he seems a bit sad that he had to destroy Topeka City. Like Bombastic mentioned in a bunch of his videos, like, why wouldn't the Kaminos have a contingency plan in case the Empire turned against them? Why wouldn't they have, like, another inhibitor chip, or maybe the inhibitor chip does something like turn against the Empire? Because then what if somebody just forced the clone troopers to shoot Topeka City? Would they just do it without a hesitate? Because, you know, like, I would assume that they had some type of plan, but I guess they didn't. So, they're still shooting at Topeka City. It seems like Rampart really wants the entire thing to be destroyed because they're still shooting at Topeka City. They're still going full blast. So, then we go into Topeka City, and we see Omega and Hunter get separated with Crosshair stuck. So, the episode opens up, and they're still shooting, and then now there's a blast door between Omega and Hunter, and then Crosshair is stuck with Omega. So Crosshair is stuck under a bit of rubble, and then the rest of the Bad Batch are on the other side. So now the room is slowly flooding with water, and the door will not open, and Tech can't override it because, as I mentioned, Easy mentioned that there are some emergency exits in case of flooding, but I'm guessing that more of the protocol, all the doors will close so that water doesn't escape from hallway to hallway. So now Omega is stuck with Crosshair, and Crosshair is still unconscious after they stunned him during last episode. So now he's stuck. So Omega takes her crossbow and starts to shoot the rebel off. And I have to mention, there is great music during this scene right here. Like I mentioned in my last video, that the composer said that the music was so good that I actually cried. So I'm guessing that means that there's no sad ending. It's just the music was so good. I'm guessing they just cried because I have no idea. They just started randomly crying for some reason. But that's what they said. So I just haven't mentioned very good music. So then Wrecker takes that knife that you saw in the Clone Wars, in the first episode called the Bad Batch, and he tries to open the door. So once he finally gets it open and Omega helps, they open the door, they get Crosshair and Omega out, and then they close the door again. So now it's not completely under the water, but now it's slowly sinking because it's still at the surface, but as you see at the end of the episode, it falls to the sea bottom. So AZ is still here. AZ didn't get damaged at all. They still have AZ. So now they're running through the hallway, And when they're running through a hallway, they stop and you get to see all the clone, I guess you would call them test tubes, because that's where the clones were born. Now, obviously, like we saw in last episode, they're evacuated. I mean, they're not evil murderers that kill poor children, kind of like in one of the Battlefront 2 mods, I believe. In one of the original Battlefront 2, I think it was 1970, whatever. And in one of the mods, I think it was, you were tasked as Boba Fett to try to kill a bunch of innocent baby clones. So don't worry, we're not doing that. We're not killing baby clones here. So all the empty test tubes, but you see it slowly filling with water, and then you see a bit of heartfelt with Omega and the Bad Batch, how they're just looking at all the factory getting completely filled with water. So then it starts tipping so that the platform is now vertical, and then they start slipping down, it's kind of like a slide, kind of like in Revenge of the Sith, how when the invisible hand goes vertical, how Anakin and Obi-Wan, how they start sliding down, kind of like that. And then AZ gets knocked down, but Omega's holding on to AZ's hand, obviously, because, Omega cares about AZ. You even see at the end that Omega really cares about AZ, because AZ is really kind of Omega's only friend there. She seemed to not really get along with the rest of the regs, like even like the cadets, because she doesn't like regs. As we saw in the first episode when she did her food fight, she really did not like regs. So then it falls to the sea bottom, and now the Bad Batch are stuck on the sea bottom with no way to get out, and now Kamino is lost, as the episode suggests. So then they find, and you can see right after this moment right here, Crosshair has a bit of hesitation. Throughout this entire episode, he's a bit hesitant on whether he should come with the Bad Batch or whether he should just go without them. Because obviously, now that we know that he's got his inhibitor chip removed, he has his own free will now, and now he can do what he wants. The only problem is he's so deeply aligned with the Empire that even without his inhibitor chip, he's still kind of good soldiers follow orders, even though he doesn't have the inhibitor chip. So they find their old room, like I said, and their old room is wrecked. Obviously, it looks very different because it became Crosshair and his commando's room after you saw in the third episode. So it's wrecked and it's not really Bad Batchy anymore. And then Wrecker mentions about how he has his battle marks, about how many battles they won. But then Tech says that they landed right on top of the pipe that leads to Nalase's private lab. So their plan is, if they cut a hole through the floor very carefully and they keep a watertight seal, they can bring all the way to Nalase's lab and then all the way back to the Havoc Marauder and hopefully escape alive. So the only problem is, so now they have to cut through the pipe. So AZ does a nice cut, and then they go through the hole, and now they're in the pipe. Now the pipe is pretty unstable. I'm surprised that it's actually still kind of holding together, but it's still pretty stable. And now Crosshair's still talking about, why are we taking orders? Like, Crosshair is not really happy. He's like, why are we taking orders from a kid? And so he's a bit hesitant, and he seems like he really, like, I don't get what he has against Omega, but I guess because Omega is kind of the main reason why they turned against each other, because Crosshair didn't really care about Omega or Kanan, but as you can see, Hunter had a bit of compassion, but like Tech mentions, it's just his nature. That's how he was kind of made. But then, Crosshair was kind of right, because then a bigger fish from the Phantom Menace comes. A ginormous beast, which I have no idea what it is. You're probably gonna see on the screen if I figure it out at a later date. You're probably seeing on the screen what it is. It's a pretty big fish. It kind of looks like a mosasaur, from like a Jurassic World or something, but I couldn't really tell what it was. So then, AZ mentions that the power, if it was powered on, it would kind of create like an electrical field around the pipe, and then it would scare the fish away. So then AZ goes and uses his Scomp Link, which is what BD1 uses in Fallen Order and R2 uses, and uses his Scomp Link to activate the power for the entire tunnel, and now they're good. So, like I said, it's a bit unstable, but nobody collapses. The tunnel doesn't collapse, and they're all good. So they get up to Nalase's private lab, and Hunter's obviously confused about where they are, because Hunter wasn't there when they first found the lab. So Hunter asks what it is, and then Tech says that Omega explains that it's the lab where they were created, and Crosshair's like, how would she know that? And Tech's just like, oh, she was there when we got our mutations. So they actually do make acknowledgement to that Omega is older than them. Yep, I was reading an article, I think it was on StarWars.com or something, about Omega being older than them because Omega was created first, I think it was 13 years ago. Yeah, 13 years ago. Then, like a year later, probably, the Bad Batch got their mutations. Then, because their growth got enhanced, now they're double the age. So, technically, they should be 26 years old, but they don't look 26. It could be because they have their genetic mutations, but they look older than 26. They look more like 35-ish, but I mean, so now they see that the rest of the pipes are all broken because those pipes got collapsed. So now they have a problem. Now they can't get back to the Havoc Marauder, and now they're stuck in Nalse's secret lab. So there's a bit of talking with Crosshair, and Crosshair is very angry that they still left him behind. And obviously the Bad Batch have a good reason. Crosshair was trying to kill them, so they had no choice, really. Like, I don't get why Crosshair's so angry. I mean, I guess he couldn't control it, but I don't get, he understands, and why is he still choosing the side of the Empire? Now that he can control it, like, if you're angry at the Bad Batch, then why don't you just go back to their side? So, and then he's saying how he's basically saying that he's saying that this is what happens when you follow Omega. So he's a bit angry at Omega. Then Omega sits down and she says, I really thought that you were still good and that it was the inhibitor chip making you bad, but now she's disappointed that it turns out it was just him. And so then Tech gets an idea, and that they're going to try to take the test tubes. They're going to go inside the test tubes, and then with the buoyancy, it's going to float them to the surface. And the way that they're going to dodge the incoming rebel is that AZ is going to kind of like move them out of the way, kind of like that. So then all of them go in their pods, and I don't know who came up with this, but Hunter is in the same pod as Crosser. Like that's like worst enemy, and that's like worst enemies in the same pod. And then Omega gets her own pod, which doesn't really make sense. And then Wrecker is saying like, how am I supposed to fit in this pod? But he's able to fit into the pod. Then they try to make it up to the surface with AZ pushing the pod so that they dodge everything. But then all of them make it up to the surface, but right at the end, Omega gets hit by a giant piece of rubble, and AZ has to go back down to try to go get her. So then it seems that her pod loses its buoyancy because then AZ starts pushing it up, and right when they're about to get to the top, AZ is on very low power right now. So he's gotten into his emergency power source. So right when they're about to get to the top, AZ loses power, and now Omega opens up her pod and goes to dive to go try to save AZ. So then she gets AZ, and now she's trying to swim up to the surface. But right when she's about to get close, she runs out of air. So now she's got around like 10 seconds before she runs out of oxygen, and then she'll die, obviously. So then right at the end, you see Crosshair take out his gun, and it looks like he's about to go shoot he looks like he's about to go shoot Hunter in the head, but like that doesn't really make sense. Like, why would you shoot Hunter? Like, he had all that chance, but obviously he didn't. So then, but instead he shoots a grapple hook to go pull Omega and AZ back up, and now everybody's good. So then they have to paddle their way back to the Havoc Marauder, and then once they get there, everything is good. This is basically where the episode ends, but we still have a ginormous plot twist, kind of. So now for some reason Crosshair decides to stay with the Empire. Like, they tried to kill him, so I'm guessing when the Empire finds him, they're probably going to take him like captive or something, because like he may still be with the Empire, but the Empire's not with him. The Empire really doesn't care. So then they offer Crosshair to come, and they still say, like, we're going to give, like, Crosshair gave them a chance, so now they're going to try to give him a chance. So they give him the chance. You can come on the Havoc and forget all about the Empire, or you can stay with the Empire, and we won't kill you now, but if we find you later, then we might have to. So they basically come with a mutual agreement that now, so for this one time, they're not going to kill each other, but once they go on their separate sides, if they find each other again, then they're kind of going to have no choice. And then Omega's saying that, obviously Omega's saying, like, you're my brother, you should come, and he's like, oh no, I'm just gonna stay with the Empire. So like, why would you stay with the Empire? So then you see the Imperial Scouts are coming soon, so he's going to get picked up by the Imperial Scouts, and then we're going to see what Rampart has planned for him. But now this is the end of the episode, or is it? We get one more thing. So then you see a new class attack shuttle appearing to be what looks like Darrow, because right after you see a bunch of Republic commandos. So it going into Darrow, and it looks like they created a base in the mountains. So it seems that it seems that they've been on Darrow for a long time, because no way that they built this base during just the time of the Empire. This base looks like it's been here for a long time. So then the door opens and you see a couple Republic commandos escorting Nalase, but no Scorch. I was looking there for Scorch's armor, but no Scorch, because as I mentioned in my other video, Scorch appeared in that other episode. I don't remember what it was called. But then you see, so Nalase walks, and then you see somebody who walks up, and actually on her right arm and left, she seems to have the same emblem that Dr. Pershing had on his arm. So that's the clone emblem. So it seems that she's been on Kamino before, because she has the clone emblem. Or as Bombastic mentioned, it could be that all Imperial personnel, if they were scientists, that's their kind of emblem. Kind of like how the Republic has their emblem. Well, this is the Empire's science division. It could be kind of like that. But then I believe that person, now, at first, I have no idea who that is, but my only theory that I can think of is Dr. Aphra. I think that's how you pronounce it. Whatever. Dr. Aphra was the creator of Darth Vader's armor. And the only time that we actually see Dr. Aphra, I think it was in Legends, or maybe there was a canon appearance. I don't know if the Darth Vader comics are canon or not. But that's the only thing that actually that I can actually think. There were always rumors of Dr. Aphra appearing in live action, so this could be a good introduction of her appearing in animation. But then she says that they're going to appreciate Nalase's helping them do something. So what are they planning? We have no idea. Now, I'm not going to tell you what I think they're planning now. You're going to have to wait for my Bad Batch Season 2 predictions video. So if you haven't, subscribe already so you get notified when I post that video. So this is the end of the season. Star Wars Bad Batch Season 1 done, but we still have Bad Batch Season 2 coming next year. Like I said, if you haven't checked out all my Bad Batch reviews, definitely go check it out. And if you want to rewatch the series and you haven't seen my videos, then yeah, I guess check them out and rewatch the series if you want, because it's definitely a good series. So I will definitely be rewatching all the episodes probably in like a month or so, or maybe I'll rewatch them right before Bad Batch Season 2. I have no idea. So this is a great sequel to the Clone Wars, and I'm very happy that they made this. So a great finale, and well, pretty good finale. And hope you enjoyed my video. Remember, like and subscribe, like I said. And bye. See you on Bad Batch Season 2. Well, I'm going to be making more videos before then, but bye.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
So be it, Jedi. Huh?